Hi, my name is Steve Dickman, President for Outpost Centers International. Today, we're doing a report on some of the literature work going on in the Ukraine and some of the background of that and where it is today and how you can be helpful and useful in bringing about a greater distribution of this literature to those who are hurting, to those who need hope. We're going to go first today to Brock. Brock, tell us a little bit about the history of this, where you are now, and what we can do.
So, when we first got the needs coming to us from Ukraine, as Gideon Rescue Company, we really saw a need to bring hope and encouragement, and especially through literature. And so God worked out a series of miracles, provided a whole bunch of literature. It was 1 million GLOW tracts that we were originally tasked with, partnership through GLOW and ASI and OCI, and just all the pieces that were coming together. And so we sent a team relatively immediately after the conflict started. And the whole goal was actually to see how we could find avenues and channels to distribute literature. And so we were operating there as a team for about a month. We consistently were sending teams in waves for about a month. And during that time, we just had some incredible divine appointments, whether they were working with refugees in the train station or whether it was working in the communities and just distributing GLOW tracts and books in the communities. And so on one of those encounters, one of our team members, Lance and and he actually had a whole divine appointment with Andre Voss, who was in the community, and they were passing out some tracts, and we were able to interact with him. And he was so excited that he met us in the community and he wanted to know all about what we were doing. And so he became quickly a good friend and a translator for us. And he took us all around his city because Lviv was his home city. And so he knew of all the great spots to go. So, we went to the university, went to the city center, high traffic areas. He knew where all those particular spots were in which we could really distribute a lot of literature. And so he really fell in love with our team. We fell in love with him. And so it was just kind of this amazing match that was made in heaven, that God connected us together. And then we were able to continue the work. Even when we left, he just, unselfishly stepped forward and said, "Hey, I will continue this mission." Because out of the 1 million tracts, I think about 500,000 were distributed throughout Europe, different conferences, from Germany to Romania to other conferences stepped up and moved a lot of the material to refugees that were coming into their countries. And then we had about 500,000, I believe, that we distributed out into Western Ukraine as the refugees were coming out. But when we left, we had about 30 to 50,000 tracts still actually in our cache that we couldn't physically move just because there were so many of them and our hands were limited. And so it's this small little cache, 30 to 50,000 tracts that Andy has, taken on as his mission. And so we're just helping to support Andy in that mission currently right now.
Thank you, Brock, for sharing with us about this and a little of the history of it. So, Andy, you're on the ground there. Things are proceeding. Tell us how that's going as you're continuing to distribute this literature.
Now it's going better than I started. Today is not, I can say that there's a lot of people in the town because even now the train station is kind of empty. So I usually operate like in center. People, they are welcome me. They need this. Sometimes even I do start conversation with them. They tell me their stories and how they rely on God, and like what I do is it's something great, and they never expect that someone would do such a thing. In Lviv, I also have a partner now. He's just a young man. He's helping me, but I do need if I had more people, it would be better. But now I can do even more. For example, today I can go. My feet is hurting, but he is continue there, and I will join him tomorrow. Yes, I'm doing good here. Everything is good. I like now, and comparing what I was previously.
Thank you, Andy, for sharing with us a little bit about that. So what I'm hearing, Brock, is that maybe some additional people there could be helpful in getting this literature out. If someone wanted to come and help distribute literature, just share with our listeners and our viewers, Brock, how would they do that, and how could they get into this and be helpful?
Well, I think the avenues are open. The connections are there. We've made friends with Andy and others that are on the ground there. And so the way is prepared. It's just a matter of, feeling the conviction and the call and stepping out in faith to join, what's already beginning there. And it's great that, God provides pairs of people to work together. He never leaves us alone. And so we're excited to know that Andy's not alone, that God keeps providing hands for him. And that's our greatest need. It's always been our greatest need. Money is not the issue. It's really just the hands, that are needed for this kind of work. And I think the big thing is that it's a lot simpler than you think. People are so eager to receive something, that you'd be amazed at how easy it is to put a tract or a book in somebody's hand, and just the divine appointments. Even if you don't speak the language, that's always another big barrier. People think like, I can't pass anything out, but that's the beauty of it, is that these tracts have already been provided in the local language, and even if you don't know the language, you can still, with a smile, place something in somebody's hand. And so I know Andy's done a great job. He's done other things. He's been repackaging a lot of the tracts with like little goodie bags, maybe some fresh fruit, maybe a couple pieces of candy. He's kind of added a couple things to it to make it even more appealing. And so those are all great things, but that also takes hands and time. So when you're single-handedly trying to package those things and get them together and then go out and seek where you can find the most people and the most traffic, it just takes some time. So, but yeah, I think they could easily contact us. We could put them in contact with Andy. We could put them in contact with Mark or Stanley. We still have some people on the ground that are actually pursuing this, both in Warsaw and in Lviv.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Warsaw and what's happening there. Just try to get that picture as part of this too. So you have a team in Warsaw. I think we have Stanley on with us today. Someone else may be joining us here in the next couple of minutes. So just Stanley, are you in Warsaw, and how are things going there?
Yeah, so what we have been doing is going to the refugee center and making little bags with fruit and also literature and just handing it out to children and adults. We have some bags for children with children's literature, and then some bags with Steps to Christ in Ukrainian, and also some fruit. So it's been a real blessing meeting with the different refugees at the refugee center.
Now, Stanley, how many people are coming through the refugee center there? Is it a pretty crowded place? A lot of people coming through?
Yeah, as far as I know, there's many people in there. When Juan and I had visited the refugee center several weeks ago, we were allowed to go inside to share some literature. So yeah, there's many people inside, but outside, just yesterday, I believe it was, some buses coming to, and some of the refugees were going onto the buses. I don't know where they're going, but there were many people outside. Hopefully Mark will join soon so he can give you the details. I'm not able to share all the details. I'm not a good speaker.
No, thank you, Stanley, for sharing with us today. And what we're going to do at this point is just give a little more time here for Mark to join us.
Can I add something from the Ukrainian side? Okay, so I also want to say that it is safe. I know some people worry because there is a war, but it's safe here in Lviv. Even if sometimes there is some attacks, but it's safe. Our military protects the city, like also God protects the city, so it's safe here. So you shouldn't be worried about bombing or other stuff. And I've been doing a lot of experiments with the tracks, with literature. It's great, trust me. If you come here, you're going to meet a lot of people, and language is not a problem. Like a lot of people, they know English, so it's not a problem here. So it'd be really good to meet new people here and just find out that life is here. People live here. They're not suffering or live in the bunkers. They live here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to say.
Yeah, Lviv is a very modern city, and it's hustling and bustling, and you'd be amazed. In fact, you wouldn't even know that a conflict is happening if you're in Lviv on most any day, because all the shops are open, the stores are open, people are going to and fro. So it's still a real mission field, just in Lviv itself. And on Andy's note about finding unique ways, experimenting with handing out tracts, I can send you a video, but he has a video where he met some young men and he was trading them the cigarettes that they were smoking for tracts. And they actually gave him their cigarettes and they took his tracts.
Again, here we are, Zhenya and me. Today we are going to work, and we have the literature here and tracks, so technically it's a good day. A little bit cold, but it's really good day. So it's a good day.
Be honest,
great job.
Yeah,
great
I
job,
did that
Andy.
a lot, but I can't make. Some people say they don't want to okay, no video, just let's trade. So I did that maybe 10, 20 times. Yeah, I did that a lot. But just those two guys, they said, okay, you can film a video. But others, they said no. So but that's awesome. Really.
Oh man, that's great. Thank you, Andy, for being creative there. I know God's going to use some of that literature and put a spark of hope in people's hearts. So thank you for what you're doing there. Patty, is there anything else as we wait for Mark that you'd like to insert here?
I just want to make it maybe clear to people how they can, if they want to go, what's the process? Who would they talk to? Who do they call for more?
Give them give them our contact information, and we'll walk them through the things that have worked for us and our team members as they've traveled over. A lot of us just bought tickets right into Warsaw, and the train systems, work really well in Europe. So from Warsaw, you can hop on a train and go south to the border there with Ukraine. And then there's a lot of Adventist activity and others that are coming into Lviv. So we had a lot of friends. Merrick is working with, probably seen on some of these videos, he's working with ADRA, and he transports, supplies in and refugees out. So there's kind of a steady stream of options going in and out of Ukraine. And so it wasn't difficult to get into Lviv. And then once there's plenty of places in which we could, hook up for housing. There's the union office there in Lviv, and they were gracious. They were very, very helpful to our team, housing and helping to just support our operations and teams there. So there's a lot of places to minister. And then of course in Chernivtsi, south of Dr. Yuri and his operation, we have actually Sandy Roberts, who's down there too. She's our 74-year-old trooper missionary who has committed herself to being in Ukraine for the next 9 months. So she's in it for the long haul, and she's had just incredible blessings. And she's made the appeal. She said, man, if people could just come, and especially even medical, if you have any medical skills, like I know that they need help in that department. But she's just been a real blessing to translate, or not translate, but to teach English. And she's been working with the orphans there and others. So, there's a lot. The Lord has a place in many different fronts. So I'm sure there's needs all over the place.
Great. I see that we have someone else on with us here. Mark, thank you for joining us today from Warsaw. And I understand that you and Stanley are there kind of working as a team on some things and distributing literature. Tell us a little bit about how that's working and the blessings that you're receiving and seeing.
Okay, so I've been here for about 2 weeks, and I know Van and Stan had already kind of started on the ground floor. We've been to 2 locations. There's a central bus station where all the refugees are kind of converging, coming from and going to, and then there's outside of Warsaw, there's called the PTAC Expo Center, and they must have like 5,000 to 7,000 refugees at the present time. So we've kind of been doing different things. We've been going to the bus station. This is what I started doing with Van and Stan, and handing out literature. And what we've been doing the past few days is going to the refugee center and handing out fruit with the literature, and that's been very successful. We hand out we can hand out 60 bags of fruit in like about 4 or 5 minutes.
Wow.
And,
okay.
Yeah, it's as easy as it gets, right? And I got that idea when I came here. It's just been on my mind that I wanted to hand out some fruit or something. And it took us a little bit while to find a place. We went to the National Stadium first, and there's not a lot of people there right now, but there's still a lot of people at the PTAC Expo Center, and they're eating a lot of potatoes right now. So they're not getting a well-rounded diet. So they're very receptive to the fruit. And God has been with us. The first few days we did it, we had trouble kind of locating children, because we made some children's bags with some booklets about Jesus. And the third day I was there, as I was walking up, I asked God, I said, God, please bring the children to us. And within about 30 seconds, we got hoarded by children. They just came out of nowhere.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah, so there was a whole bunch of them around us. It felt really good. They're really, really beautiful and cute, and they were asking for their brata and their sister, and so they take it back, and this one girl asked for her grandmother. They couldn't come outside, and we handed her something. And the second day, the same thing happened. I was walking up, I saw 1 or 2 kids. They said, God, please bring the children to us, and they come out again. They come out of the centers out of nowhere. And before we walk down the building, and we're doing this outside, we're not even inside the building because they won't let us inside. And that was kind of a small roadblock. We were trying to get inside, and we thought about it, said, well, we don't really need to get inside. There's people outside. And so before we walk halfway down a building, all the fruit bags are handed out. It just happens that fast. And
I'm here for about 3 weeks in Poland. I'm here with working with Vaughn and Stanley. I've been here for about a week already, and it's been pretty good so far. We've been handing out a lot of literature. Had a lot of good experiences. Last time I came here, there was an old Polish lady, and she took everything that I had. She took about 8 to 10 pieces of literature. She was very excited. I had no idea what she was saying, and she kept talking to me even though she knew I didn't understand Polish. And I had a few other experiences where people were just smiling, grinning.
And unfortunately, we don't always have an interpreter with us, so we can't answer the questions, but we're going to try to get some people with us shortly that can, speak the language. There's a few people that, me and Stanley and Van feel like God brings them to us. So they come to us, they see the literature, they get excited. They're just smiling. They're very excited about it. And this one young man started laughing joyously, like it was an answer to his prayer. And we get a few of those every day, and you just kind of wonder what's going on there. And some of the people are Polish and some are Ukrainian. So we're doing Polish, Ukrainian. I don't know. I guess that's just kind of an overview. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mark, for sharing with us what's happening there on the ground in Warsaw. And we just want to say thank you to our viewers too. Your support for these efforts on the front lines and people that are out there distributing literature, connecting with real people who need hope and encouragement. It's a blessing. We couldn't do it, though, without your help and your prayers. Please continue to pray for us. Please continue to pray for Gideon Rescue Company as they're on the front lines there and participating in bringing literature of hope to these individuals who are suffering. Thank you today for watching this. And do we have anything else that we want to share today?
I just wanted to thank God, and just it's such a blessing to be able to do this. I normally work as a mechanical engineer. I work in the defense industry, and I felt like God wanted me to come out here, and I thought, well, this is impossible. I don't have the vacation time. They're not just going to give me a leave of absence. Well, I talked to Conrad Vine about 2 months ago. He came by our church. He says, you should ask him for a leave of absence. And I said, well, I've been working there 20 years. They don't have anything like that. He said, well, ask him anyway. And my boss didn't hear anything about that. But within an hour, his boss's boss had heard about it, and he had worked through something with human resources. And they gave me a leave of absence. And he said, you can go as long as you want. So, but I got to get back soon. But God opened the doors for me to be here for a short period of time. And it's been a real blessing. I've never done anything like this before. So this is a first time experience doing something like this.
Well, praise God. Thank you for taking the initiative and listening to the Spirit's voice speak to you and following up on that. I know that what you're doing there is having an eternal impact. And so we just praise God for that. And we ask our listeners, again, our viewers, to continue to pray as these resources are shared and as people receive a message of hope. Thank you, friends, today for watching this report. Continue to pray for Gideon Rescue Company and all of our ministries that are on the front lines, helping there in this crisis in Ukraine, Warsaw, and surrounding areas.